Hello, YouTube watchers. I hope you're ready to continue down this Chris Watts wormhole with me. I had to take a break and look at the Gabby Petito case, which I felt a personal connection to. So I stumbled across this change.org petition to reopen the investigation into the murders of Shanann, Bella, and Cece. And in the span of 3 years, 132 brave supporters have signed up to champion this cause. And I'm going to read a few of the comments left behind by those who signed the petition. And then I'll play some clips from Chris's original confession to see how they line up with reality. Here is the opening comment from the person who started the petition. And I'm going to correct any typos or poor grammar as I read in case you're following along. So this is from Debs C. As no evidence of Chris Watts killing Bella and Celeste exists, how can this be life without parole? After 2 batches of discovery files have been released, it's now unclear who killed the girls. I'm asking for people to sign this to give me a clear idea of who else is behind me in wanting this case looked at again. Also NK looked at, as it's quite possible she was involved. There is not one bit of evidence that could be used in a court of law that could prove Chris killed those girls. They know this. Just as much circumstantial evidence to suggest someone else killed them. So, Debs, when you tell someone where to find the bodies after playing stupid for 2 days, I think that trumps circumstantial evidence. Am I right? The next comment is from Lori. She writes, I'm signing this petition because I believe Chris's original confession that he said Shanann murdered the girls and he killed her in a rage for killing his daughters. Those girls meant the whole world to Chris. He reached to them every night. He doesn't sound like a cold-hearted narcissist monster to me like everyone says he is. Sounds like a father who still loves his daughters even after death. And this is how he is grieving the loss of his precious babies. I believe that Chris feels guilty for the affair, and he's feeling like he let his daughters down by not being able to protect them from Shanann doing what she did. I think he's just taking all the blame because he's got nothing left, apart from his mom, dad, and sister. Men can be victims of emotional and verbal abuse as well. I think there's so many inconsistencies in this case that we don't know about, and a lot is swept under the carpet. My heart goes out to Chris. This case is so sad. She makes Chris seem like such a swell guy, so hard done by. But we're going to see how cold-hearted Chris really is. Next commenter is Susan. I still don't believe he killed the girls. This entire case was way too fast. He's protecting someone. I think it's Shanann. He doesn't want anyone to think negatively towards her. Well, Chris sure was quick not to cover for someone when the opportunity presented itself. Amina writes, this case needs to be looked at all over again. He did not kill his girls. Investigators and police department did a poor job on examining evidence and clues. So to Amina I say, there was a trail of breadcrumbs leading to the body. Not every single clue needs to be investigated. If I ask my child if they ate the cookies from the cookie jar, I don't need to dust for fingerprints when they have cookie crumbs all over their face. Now let's hear from Chris as he describes how he caught his wife on the baby cam strangling one of their daughters. And take note of how calm and emotionless his delivery is.
And so your wife was on top, was she
doing this? That's when I was walking up from the back.
Okay. And so you saw from the back?
Yeah.
Okay. But she was doing this?
It looked like it was like this.
Yeah, okay. And then was Cece face up, face down, what?
Off to the side.
Oh, she was laying on her side? Okay.
And that's when I pulled her off. And
okay.
She was limp and she was blue.
Okay.
There was no movement at all.
Oh, she was limp and blue, or limping and blue?
Limp and blue.
Limp and blue, okay.
It's like her body was like,
right.
You pick her arm up and it
sure.
just falls.
Okay. And then what happened?
I looked at her and I just got on top of her and
You got on top of Shanann?
did the same thing.
Okay. Did you have to knock her down?
No.
She was already on the ground?
I just pulled her off on the bed. And,
Oh, kind of one movement?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not as though you
I didn't
pulled her off?
No, like I pulled her down and
Okay.
did that. I didn't know, I lost it
Sure.
So
Okay.
Shanann was laying on the ground?
on the bed.
On the bed?
Yeah, like when she was on top of the seat, I saw what was happening. I pulled her, went down, I was
How
on
big
the
is
bed.
the bed? What kind of, what size is it? Full, clean, you know?
I think it's probably a queen of some sort.
If you're being strangled and deprived of oxygen, you reflexively fight and struggle to breathe, and you grasp at your throat. Chris indicated Shanann was wearing a t-shirt and underwear, so she would presumably have scratch marks from Cece based on his description of their positioning. Same would have happened if Chris strangled Shanann in the manner he described. Her hands and legs would have been free to fight him off. With two adults laying diagonally on that little bed, which Chris describes as a queen size, and with Cece still laying on it, it would have been difficult for Chris to pin Shanann down, leaving her defenseless to fight back. Not to mention, if she was in a rage and had just killed her daughters, the adrenaline would be pumping. She's not going to go limp while Chris kills her. So this scenario of events just doesn't pass the smell test for me.
What do you think about calling an ambulance? How come?
I saw Cece laying there blue and limp. I mean, I've never seen something like that in my life. I mean, she just like lay over, like she wasn't moving at all, no gasp of breath.
So,
She was totally just blue.
so Chris, doing this job for a long time.
I know.
I know a lot about psychology and as far as like what people are thinking, and most parents will never even want to fathom that their kid is dead. Even if their kid's stiff, blue in bed, I mean stiff like been dead all night, they still call an ambulance to see if someone can revive their child. And when the ambulance gets there and they're like, gosh, their kid's been dead all night, like there's nothing we can do. The parent's like, why are you not doing something? What are you talking about? So that's what we're used to. So that's why I want you to explain to me like what was going on in your head and
The rage I felt for what she did, it just took over.
For a guy who recently had taken mandatory CPR training through his work, he would have known how to resuscitate the girls. He would also know that if you're deprived of oxygen, you will pass out and become unconscious. And when that happens, your body will be limp and will not respond in the same way as someone who's sleeping. It doesn't mean they're dead. And as far as Chris saying the girls were blue, I find it hard to believe that either girl immediately turned into a Smurf. Also, it wouldn't have been detectable on the baby monitors because they were in black and white, much like this image of Bella, where she just happens to be sprawled out when a babysitter took a photo for Shanann one evening. She could have been fine for all he knew. He doesn't mention running to her aid. And as with someone's arm being limp, having a blue face doesn't mean someone is dead. In these next clips, listen carefully to how Chris takes the blame and covers for Shanann, with all that guilt about the affair taking over him.
Okay.
Everything I've told you. Truth.
So what's going to happen when their cause of death comes back to you for the girls?
It's not going to.
Okay. You sure?
I'm 100% positive it's not going to come back to me.
Who's it going to come back to?
Shanann was on top of Cece.
Okay. What do you want me to say? I just want the truth.
That is the truth.
And then what about Bella?
Bella was laid out, sprawled on her bed.
Okay.
And I saw Shanann on top of Cece, so I ran in there.
And what happens when a coroner looks and says, "These are your fingerprints on her neck"?
It's not going to be my fingerprints.
Okay. What is it going to be?
It's going to be Shanann's.
So you're good with the public knowing that Shanann killed her daughters?
I did not hurt these girls.
Are you okay with the public knowing that Shanann?
Yes, because I did not hurt these girls.
I think as many problems as you've had with Shanann, at the end of the day, she seemed like she was a pretty good mom, right?
I was a pretty good dad as well. You never really know a person until you don't know a person.
He sounds so cocky as he throws Shanann under the bus. And there you go, from Chris's mouth. You never really know a person until you don't know a person. So for all of those people that say he seemed like such a nice guy, or he doesn't seem like the type, he never raised his voice, remember his words. You never really know a person who seemed like a good guy until you don't know a person, because the good guy killed his family. Now, the final clip I'm going to play is a complete contrast to calm, cool Chris talking about the murder of his wife and children. He turns into crybaby Chris, putting on a show for his daddy. What's more interesting is what he's crying about, and it's not his dead family. They're discussing the possibility of his co-workers assisting with the recovery of the bodies from the oil tanks.
What's going to happen?
We're going to help him get out of there. Would you prefer that one of your coworkers?
Oh my God, no.
Okay.
I cannot have that. You said that everybody thinks I'm a good man. They're gonna see this. You're like, what the fuck did you do, Chris? Why didn't you just go to cops to begin with?
Well, they weren't in your shoes. They don't know.
I know.
They weren't living your life.
I know, but still, it's like
people are gonna.
I can never
We'll just go little steps at a time. How about that?
I can't have anybody show you out there. Let anybody, no coworkers, please.
Okay.
I mean, they're just gonna form their own opinions anyways once they figure everything out anyway.
We'll just take little steps tonight then. How about that?
Yeah. Do you have to have any of them with you?
No.
No. We prefer you.
Can you and me and Tammy and Ronnie get in the car and just drive out there?
Just general direction.
You just point it? Chris, I know they're gone, but they're still your babies, and you're still their dad.
And you don't want them out there.
I don't want them out there.
And you don't want someone else to find them out there. You don't, I promise you.
I have one last comment to read from the petition. It's from Gabriel. He writes, "He is innocent and contacted me and personally told me he is innocent. Therefore he is. He is an adult, and adults don't lie, and he seemed nice, and he wasn't nervous when he told me he didn't do it." Now, I have a feeling that Gabriel didn't actually sign the petition, but it sums up how naive the people who did sign it actually are. I think Chris is right where he belongs, with no possibility for parole. It just doesn't make sense that anyone other than Chris is responsible. And to the people who signed the petition, I don't think you'd know a piece of evidence if it poked you in the eye. If you'd like to continue down this wormhole with me, please subscribe, comment, and like this video. Thanks for watching.